Game development is not easy. I mean, you gotta actually learn things. Who the hell wants to do that? But as a kid, and like many other kids, I've always wanted to make my own game. I can let my imagination go wild and let people enjoy the pieces of art I make. So I chose Fortnite as my game engine. Yeah, not Unity, not Unreal Engine itself, not Godot, but Fortnite. I'm gonna explain what Fortnite's engine is and why I chose to make a game on it, and giving my experience on the process of how I even made my first map, the pros and cons of using this engine, and my overall thoughts about my decision. Fortnite has user-generated content. It actually has for many years now, and that's all through their creative mode. However, the creative mode is an all-platform in-game modifying system, so it made it very limited since it needed to be on all platforms and only using development tools built inside of the game itself. But it was decently advanced for what it was. In March of 2023, Fortnite released Creative 2.0, also dubbed as Unreal Editor for Fortnite, shortened to UEFN. I'll be saying that a lot, so just know that's what it means. For the few who don't know what Unreal Engine is, it is a very powerful engine created by Epic Games, who are the creators of Fortnite. And many, and I mean many games use Unreal Engine. Some of the best looking games and most intensive games use it. What UEFN does is give a more limited version of Unreal Engine to use specifically for Fortnite map creation, which includes the use of actual custom code to enhance the map making experience. With that quick overview, why did I choose this to make games? Well, technically games within Fortnite. Reason one, I really like Fortnite. Plain and simple, I just really like the game. I started playing Fortnite back in Season 1 when the Skull Trooper was still in the store, and I played consistently throughout Chapter 1. But I really slowed down playing it consistently after the end of Chapter 1, and I only really hopped on to play with my friends. But after Chapter 5's release, they added Lego Fortnite.
Can't get sleep around here, Mom. Yo!
Fortnite Festival and that racing mode. It got my interest peaked back into playing the game. Reason 2, I like modding. UEFN is not called modding, but it is technically modifying an existing game to create your own creations, so I think it still counts. I even have a history of making mods and maps, as Call of Duty Zombies is one of my favorite game modes of all time, and quite a few years back I created my own custom maps for Call of Duty World at War and Call of Duty Black Ops 3. The idea of going to a real life place and thinking, man, that would be an awesome map, was just so consistent that I just wanted to make my own maps. And the same goes for Fortnite. Having an existing game as your base in order to create brand new experiences and modes and even maps is just awesome. And it's genuinely more investing to me than creating my own game using Unity or Unreal Engine itself. It's like putting your brain power into figuring out what topping creations you could put on your hamburger rather than figuring out what you could put in the actual patty itself. I don't have to worry about the patty. It's already good. I'm just gonna worry about making it different, enhancing it. This is a terrible analogy. Reason 3, I like getting paid. Honesty is key here, and I would like to get paid for my hard work and time. While game development does pay you when you release a game, it involves people purchasing the game or things within the game in order to get paid. While in Fortnite, you get paid by engagement and player numbers within the game. It requests no payment from the players themselves. So if you create a fun and engaging map that people love playing, then you get paid. This is genuinely a modder's dream. Streamers who play games that have mods as their career, like Super Mario 64 or Call of Duty Zombies, they usually have to hold competitions for mod creators to even see a cent in their wallet from their map creations. And it's a competition. If you're not even that good, you might get paid a little bit bucks if you even rank. If they're generous enough, you're probably not even gonna reach the top. I'm pretty sure Epic Games puts away 40% of their monthly revenue away specifically for the payment pool for these user-generated maps. And that is insane. Games like Roblox usually take fees or taxes or just pay people very low in order to pay the player, so they get paid little. Here, Fortnite makes so much money that they are out of their own pocket paying people to make maps. I honestly don't think we'll be able to see this again. Hopefully they start a precedent this way and other game companies start doing this. Because games like Gmod literally have 25,000 people on there every single day, and it is purely run by user-generated content. I am a computer science student, so it is my decision to put my time and effort into making Fortnite maps, and no one can take that right away from me. The first thing anyone should do when they're trying to learn new tools is to come up with an idea of something that they want to create to have a small end goal while you're learning. This is genuinely one of the hardest steps, as sometimes ideas can be too ambitious or they could be too small, and there's just a lot of things you need to think about. So here are my personal 5 steps of thinking for an idea for a game. That name is not final. Step 1, am I able to do this idea? Basically, is it even possible to do this idea with these tools at your disposal? Will the tools even allow you to do this? Is your idea just too big for whatever engine you're working on? 2, am I allowed to do this idea? Read the terms of service and read your own moral standards, and decide if the idea is even allowed. Can I even do this idea? Do you have the skills and knowledge at this current time in order to complete this idea? Or think you should be able to research and learn how to do this idea in a reasonable manner? 4, do you have time for this idea? Don't get too ambitious, especially if it's your first project. Pick an idea that is simple at first and expand later, as the more time you spend, the less interested you get into your idea. And at that point, it becomes a chore. 5, is it engaging and fun? This last step gets people, as if a game is not fun or engaging, no one will play it, so why the hell make it? With those steps in mind, I browsed through the Fortnite creative section in order to find some inspiration. Yeah, it's a lot of junk as I expected. The tools are very easy to access. People are just gonna be making maps for the hell of it. And since you can get paid, it's gonna be even worse. But that does not stop me because I'm here to make a change. Not really, it's Fortnite. Overall, this section just looks like Roblox back in like 2012. Tycoons, obbies, and reskins of existing maps, but with like popular IPs. Nothing wrong with these maps, it's just that it's really nothing special at the top or anything too unique, other than like a few maps. I try to remember what maps were popular back in the day on Roblox, because if they were popular in Roblox, they should be popular now as seen from the pages. And one idea stuck out: guessing styled games. These games back in the day on Roblox were like guess the rapper, guess the YouTuber, or guess the logo. And they usually had a big wall with an image for you to guess on it. And you would type in the chat your answer, and if you got it right, the wall would like fade or go down and you would go through. Guessing maps do exist on Fortnite, but you usually only get like 2 to 5 choices. So if you just walk through one and you don't get it, just go to the next one. It's really no challenge, it's just keep on guessing until you get it right. I mean, to be fair, it is called guessing.
Jordan never did that move.
That's not my vision. I want it to be as close as the Roblox one as possible. But the issue is, Fortnite does not have the option to type in the chat. Well, I guess it makes sense. It's cross-platform with console, and consoles can't just pull up their keyboard and go bah, 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 bah. So there's no way to type your answer like that. Or is there? How about I make a giant keyboard on the wall and have the players shoot each letter that they want to type in order to submit their answer. It's still really not that crazy and honestly kind of janky, but it is unique to Fortnite. So that is what I did. The idea I went with was guess the Fortnite skin, since we are playing Fortnite and there's a lot of skins, and I think people would want to maybe test their knowledge on what Fortnite skin is that, because some of them got some wacky names. And I wanted at least 50 walls with images of the skins on there for people to guess. Seems simple enough to make. I hopped on UEFN, I created a blank map, and I watched a tutorial on how to even use this thing because I've never opened up this program in my life. I spent a few days trying to figure out how everything worked, like how to give players new weapons, how to shoot an item and make it disappear and reappear, and messing with the UI to display text on the HUD. Tutorials from people like Graham Bull, Pi=3, and Warforged really helped out with these smaller aspects to create a bigger game, and especially help with learning how to use the coding language of Fortnite Verse. As a little sidetrack here about programming, I always thought Fortnite used C++ because that's what Unreal Engine uses as their baseline, but Epic Games decided to create their own programming language for Fortnite specifically. I was able to figure out how you can shoot a prop, and then a letter is registered to each prop, which is sent to the code, so I can register under the HUD that letter you typed or you shot. And then you can submit your answer to check if it's right or wrong. And that is the baseline for a game, that you shoot a letter by letter to type a full word and then check if your word is the same as the word that I have set. Good progress. For the level design of sorts, I just wanted to build a floor and then 2 walls and then maybe some extra walls to separate out. No roof, just like how the Roblox ones are. Issue is that the process to build simple geometry is really not that easy. See, I'm spoiled from making maps on Call of Duty. As as their level design program, Radiant, has a 3D and a 2D view. Now, I'm going to specify a 2D view that has a grid, which you can then draw on there to create a rectangle, and on each angle, you can adjust the height, adjust the width, to be able to make a square or a rectangle, a wall, or whatever it is, super easily. And if you wanted to adjust the size of a rectangle you built or a wall, all you had to do is click on it, and then on the grid, you just go beep, and you move it. You just move it left to right, and then it shrinks or it grows, and it stays the same position. Super easy to adjust. With UEFN, you don't get it that easy. And honestly, with almost every game development tool that I've used, you don't ever get it that easy. To build a floor, you had to go to modeling mode, and then you would select a square, and then you adjust its size, usually by typing it out, and then you would place your square. While that is simple, if I wanted to readjust the floor later, I would have to scale it by both ends and shrink it, as every action is mirrored on both sides. So if I shrink one side, it shrinks the other side, and then you would have to move it back to the position because the ends now are since they're mirrored, they may not line up exactly the same. In Radiant, all I'd have to do is just drag one end to shorten it. Here, it's a pain in the ass. Thankfully, I wasn't building detailed or multiple houses, so it really wasn't that much of a problem in my process. I painted the walls blue. I just think it looked really nice and it fit the theme of it being in the sky, and I needed an image of my first skin I was going to use for the wall. I picked an iconic one, Fish Stick. That's the legend right there. I found a transparent image of Fish Stick. I created a Photoshop template that has the color of the wall as the background, so I can just go ahead and drag the transparent image of Fish Stick on there or whatever skin, go ahead and add a drop shadow, and then export it so that I could put it on the wall and it looks nice. Now for the annoying part of my process was building the keyboard itself. I had to find letter models online. I could have used images of the letters, but I thought models would have looked better and make it pop out a bit more. And then I went ahead and built a little key, and then I repeated it for every single letter, including a space bar, a clear button, and a backspace button. Once the keyboard was built, I needed to add the ability to shoot each letter in order for the code to recognize the letter I shot, and I can officially type the letter. The solution was to use the prop manipulator device in Fortnite. Devices in Fortnite is basically how the game goes ahead and communicates with the code for specific actions. The prop manipulator determines if you've manipulated a prop either by damaging or destroying, and then you can send that to code or some other device in the game to make something happen. So I set it to be on damage because I want the player to be able to shoot it once, it disappears and pops back up to simulate that they typed it and feedback for them to know that they typed it. I copy and paste that for every single letter. I made sure I named myself to be very organized. And I did the same thing for the shootable submit button so that the player could submit their answer to check if it's right or wrong. And boom, the main functionality of the whole game is finished. Now an even more annoying part. There are 50 rooms, and this is the first one. So time to copy and paste the whole room 50 times. This took a few days and was insanely annoying, as highlighting over 26 prop manipulators really lagged my game. I got to around 30 rooms in a few days, and disaster struck. My game was giving me errors every time I tried launching it. I decided to remove a few keyboards and rooms because I assumed that maybe just it being so laggy and the memory being halfway at the top was causing this issue, and I was right. When I got down to 25 rooms, it allowed me to launch in the game and played fine. And at this point, the game was even taking me quite a lot longer to launch into the game, so I had to find a solution. Since the memory at the top was basically halfway, and I was only at 25 rooms and I wanted 50, it would pretty much be full by the time I was finished with the map, even before it broke. So something definitely needed to be changed. After brainstorming, I figured I could actually attach many props and devices to a single prop, which then I could just attach every single keyboard, device, object, and everything to that single prop and then move that prop through the code. So instead of having 50 keyboards, it's just one keyboard that moves down every single time you get it correct. Because the player is not going to be in multiple rooms at once. They can only be at one room at a time, and when they complete the last room, they have to move forward anyways. So I readjusted the rooms, coded the functionality to move it every time you complete the room, and it really saved the day. Oh my god.
Holy sh**.
Yeah, that was basically a 10 times decrease in memory. That really shows you need to think smarter and really pre-plan how you're gonna do this, and there's a lot of things you need to be taking in consideration. After plowing through the rest of the rooms and adding each unique skin to the wall after doing research, finding which names looked hard to guess, and just kind of figuring it out, the map was finished. But I just got reminded of my 5 steps of, I forgot what the hell I even called that. The 5 steps of good ideas, I don't don't know. Is the idea fun and engaging? Well, this is a typing out type of trivia and would be fun to test your knowledge. So it may not be for everybody, but what happens if you get stumped? What if somebody doesn't know the Fortnite skin? Or, oh, it's on the tip of their tongue, but they just don't know it. I don't want people to quit because they didn't know the answer, especially if they think they almost know the answer. So I needed to give some sort of hint. So I created a gold system to purchase hints. Every time a player got a level right, they are given 5 gold. In order to purchase a hint, they would have to use 30 gold to give a hint, where the letters are kind of in a hangman style, where you know how many letters there is, if there's a space, and also it fills in a few letters for you. And I think that came out pretty well. Alright, we're getting closer to the completion here, and after a few recommendations from friends, something you should always probably do, it's good to have some advice, they recommended I clarify level numbers, as if there's over 50 levels, it'd be nice to know your current progress. But I decided to clarify difficulty levels based on how difficult the skin is to guess. Since there were glass windows on the left and right, you should be able to see what the next skin is, and you kind of have a reference how far you are or how close you are to the end. So with difficulties, I was able to change the background image of each of the skins to be different colors based on the difficulty, and I added an area on the HUD to show what current difficulty level you're at. And then I changed the amount of gold that you get for the level based on the difficulty, which I add 5 gold for every harder difficulty level. After some finishing touches, like a timer to know how long it took you to beat the map, the starting room area with a brief tutorial on how things work, and a little Easter egg, I was ready to upload the map to the public. I made a thumbnail which I briefly had to learn how to port Fortnite models and how to use Blender in order to make a render with the lighting. And with my Photoshop skills, I created a banger of a thumbnail. After an interesting publishing process, which involves a questionnaire, the map was ready to be reviewed. It got denied. See, I should have followed my 5 steps of ideas, whatever, I don't know. Well, I should remember it because I forgot to even follow it. Because rule 2, am I able to do this? I broke it. I confess, I never actually looked through the terms of service on Fortnite map making. I messed up big time there. Please address the following issues. 1.2, keep personal information private. Blah, 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 blah. Don't provide other chat methods on your island like chat boxes or custom keyboards. Damn. I'm not really that mad, as I was kind of doubting my idea in the later progress, but overall it was a great learning experience on how the tools work, and I learned a lot through this map making process. It sucks, but I'll live with it. At least I don't have to advertise a map for you guys to play, because you can't even if you wanted to. Well, here are some pros and cons of spending time on learning UEFN as my game engine. Pros. Tons of assets are available at the start. Pretty much every model inside of the game is available for use, and the game devices to control gameplay gives a lot of variety to customize maps without even touching the code. I found myself using those devices instead of actually touching the code because sometimes it was just easier. The player base is huge in Fortnite, so if a map is published, tons of people can already access it. That is always a benefit of modding a popular game. The mode is constantly being updated with more devices and more features being added. As long as Fortnite keeps on adding it, creative will eventually keep on getting it. You get paid for the work you put in. What else is better than that? It is very easy to access and use. Believe it or not, that's not the case for a lot of modding tools. Cons. Small scale level editing is not very easy. While the landscape tool is awesome to create landscapes, building something simple like a box house without using models is really not that ideal. There are tons of helpful features missing, but they will be added on over time. Online help for this is scarce, and people who have played with UEFN for quite a while are the ones making tutorials, and there are few of them. The rules for the islands are pretty strict, and one of the goofiest rules there is that you can't even have a raffle system with custom currency in your game. Like, you can't even spin a wheel and win nothing. They consider that gambling. It's kind of lame. The discovery system sucks, as you can't purely rely on Fortnite to push out your map within the game. You gotta do some advertising. But that's kind of true for every single game that you would ever make. I mean, there's probably a bunch of more pros and cons, but hey, on the top of my head, that's all I can really think about. I enjoyed my experience using UEFN, and it was fun the past few months to learn these new tools. And I think I've officially decided I'm going to continue working on making maps for Fortnite instead of using an actual game engine. I have tons of ideas for next maps, so I'm not going to be slowing down on making maps. And I might upload more content relating to UEFN and creating unique maps for a fun styled video. We shall see. And I'll see you guys in my next map, Sonic Big Yat Superpower Box Fights. It's gonna be a banger, trust me.